Alright. They can hear you, by the way. I've just turned it on. uh, let's go to KondXP. There we go. Okay, so I very briefly watched this demo already, and I'm gonna go over the same things effectively. Alright, so this mid, right, I'm gonna pause it and say things. So the first mid, I basically noticed he gets up on top, so that's good. He needs to take the height advantage, and then he ends up getting some damage onto that soldier, or scout rather, that then kills the scout, so they get some picks. They do end up winning this mid, so it goes pretty well anyway. And there's like a moment right now where he gets knocked back up on top, but this doesn't happen very often. So I'd like to point out that the mistake that he's made so far is that he was on top and he, for pretty much no reason, dropped down. I think it's probably he was thinking of chasing the scout if the scout didn't die. I don't think that was really that important though. I personally would have stayed up on top. I think it kind of gives you more of a position to fight, especially if that soldier's still alive and wants to bomb somewhere. It's really easy to do something, whereas the scout, if you're on the floor, has a much easier time of dealing with you if you can see that you're isolated on that side. And if you're on top, he can't really get to you without, being in the air, which makes him be a disadvantage against you and your scout partner. So effectively, the words that I want to say is keep the height advantage if you can. So here, you do some damage on the soldier. And then it goes like this. He gets knocked back up. So yeah, it goes off. It goes well anyway in this mid, because his team actually cleans up really well, gets all these kills, and they end up going forwards. So they do okay in this case. So at this point they got a full Uber. I'm gonna pause it for here. Right. So I'm not really sure which person in this team specifically was supposed to be playing the pocket scout role, but it seems like you're kind of you want to go in with the medic, but the medic doesn't even seem to realize at all that is what you want to do.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
So with that in mind, I actually noticed after this as well, when you walk through, there's two scouts going left. So there's one that goes through the left shut door that you can see to your left at the moment. And then you go through there as well. The other scout gets Ubered and you're basically still with the combo. I'd say, obviously in this case it wouldn't really work. You may have been trying to get a bus so that you could go to the other side. But either way, that didn't really happen. So you'll go through here in a moment after they pop. You'll follow basically. So you basically could have really easily died to a sticky trap if there was one there. I'm not really sure if there was. The demo was right side, but he could have placed one there. You're actually really, really weak now. The people that went in effectively did nothing with the Uber. The mistake there was to chase at all. There was really no reason to chase there. That was not a good idea. It's really easy for everyone to just shoot at you from all angles really there and just get a free kill on you. Your medic ends up dying as well. I think that was more a poor choice on your entire team's part really. They just didn't really seem to have much direction in what they were doing. They weren't really shooting the same people. They went through left and Ubered really early. The demo was really far right, so no one could really punish anyone at all. So it just wasn't a very good push. But then you obviously then overextended and stayed in, and you didn't really need to. So they've got a full Uber here. You need to, when you're holding, I'm going to pause it there as well. When you're holding that area, I definitely wouldn't say to be that far forward in it. The main reason is because they can spam you really easily while you're retreating from there. It's difficult to dodge the spam if they shoot right in the middle of that bit. It's basically like a free spam rocket. And imagine if that demo on the right hand side had noticed that you were there and was shooting at you. He could have easily just killed you, or the scout walked through, or something like that. I do realize you have stickies on top and there's a soldier there, but being that the demo is in a pretty safe position at this point, and there's really no one on his head at the moment, he could have just spammed a couple of stickies or even one sticky and got you there, especially if they hit you a little bit more with some chip damage from the scout. So when you're holding that area, it's more like you need to have your eyes on the area rather than you need to be able to jump into it or run into it. So I'd say focus more on just making sure that you have eyes there, but also make sure that you don't tunnel vision too much so that the demo and the scout on the right hand side don't, or whoever the hell is going to go through choke, don't just kill you without you even noticing. So now you're really, really weak and you're having to pull out of the fight, and that is pretty much because of your positioning. Your soldier dies as well. I assume to get the force, because he actually did seem to manage it. You actually get a soldier pick on the end of that. So you've actually ended up in a pretty okay position here. You guys are on process last, which is actually pretty easy to defend, especially with an Uber advantage. It's difficult to obviously defend like any map really is against an Uber when you don't have one. But in this case, they don't have an Uber, and you do. I'd say the safe option here, and I'd say this almost all the time, would just be to try and look for people that were overextending, because most of the coordination that was between the combo before didn't really look like it was very focused on pushing people out, so it's really difficult for you guys to get on point and actually cap. So I think what I noticed as well when I watched it was that you were trying to do a lot when you pushed out, rather than capping, and the other scout wasn't really capping either. So there was a lot of time where the only person that was capping was someone who had 1 times cap, and it took so long that they were able to just jump in or come in the choke and actually get a kill or 2 off the back of it, and I think then they push into your last or something along those lines. This could be a completely different situation. At this point they've got an Uber, so I think they may try and push in and then you guys push out, and then what I just stated happens, I think, but we'll see, I suppose. See, I don't have a huge problem with where you are right now. The only thing I'd say is you are in a ditch. I'd say most of the time try and keep a height advantage. I realize that's difficult on this last, but like when I'm holding these sorts of areas, I like to hold on the left-hand side so I can see both doors, but then I can easily retreat as well through the left-hand side. So maybe behind the barrels a little bit to the left, but enough so that like if they were pushing left, I immediately pull out. So if they want to focus me on the left-hand side, I can go up the ramp if I need to and just dodge a few bullets while my team comes and helps and spams rockets and that sort of thing. It doesn't work if they rush you really, really far left, and then you end up just effectively just getting shot. They'll shoot rockets, say 2 soldiers bomb or something like that, and you have no one with you. They'll shoot rockets toward the spawn door so that you'll just get locked in, basically, locked out rather, and then you'll just die. So you have to have that in mind when you're retreating from there. If they are more than 1 person, especially 2 soldiers or a scout and a soldier, make sure that you don't just run straight into where they're going to spam, thinking, "Oh, I'm going to get in spawn, no problem." Do think about it a little bit. But other than that, I know you're trying to do damage when they come in, so that they don't just come in for free. This really should be mostly your soldiers' idea. So the main reason you want a height advantage, or just not to be in a ditch, not even necessarily an advantage on them, but not to just stand in a ditch, is because if they come in, it's really easy for them to just shoot. That was really well played from you, because that guy kind of just got outplayed. He just got absolutely trashed. And then you end up getting a soldier pick. So I believe off the end of this, or off the back of this, you then decide to push out, and then the situation I mentioned before happened. So you're trying to like push out with your team. Your team should really be going for a force, but what happens is they actually end up walking into you with the Uber anyway. So now the soldier there, you end up getting him, but I don't think it was actually worth chasing there, because now you're going back to the point. You have someone else capping a demo, and you're finally on the point, but then you actually leave the point again. Or rather, you go back to the point, and they can just walk in by this point, because you've effectively left it really open for them to just spam you. If you'd have got on the point and capped it earlier, you wouldn't have had to all bunch up so much when they had the opportunity. So it would have been a lot harder for them to actually spam you. So I think you have to look for opportunities where they're not able to just spam you for free, and they are retreating. So let them retreat. They can retreat if they need to, but the most important part of this entire game is always to cap the points. If you can't cap the points without taking a shitload of damage, then it's really difficult for you to then keep that point. So even if you did cap that point, you weren't in a great position. Now it's worked out somewhat okay, but the problem is I believe your medic died off the back of that, and theirs almost has Uber, so they're going to push in and basically force you out, and there's nothing you can do about it. Their medic actually ends up dying, and a soldier, but you've lost 2 soldiers as well. And at this point, this is a really big mistake from you. When you get like picks like that, you have a soldier and a medic on their side dead, right? You have 2 soldiers dead as well, so you're really not in a good place to fight. They don't have a medic, but at the same time, they do have 2 scouts, a soldier and a demo, and you have 2 weak scouts now that basically walk through the same sort of area, got spammed by the same spam, and are now extremely weak, probably both going to die, and solo is with your medic now. So it was a bit hasty for you to go forwards there, and you'll end up dying because of that. So then you die. You've then got 3 people dead, and then Shade dies as well. So that's 4 people dead. That medic pick that you got is almost pointless by now. You're 92, 93%. You know, this is going to be very difficult. Dice actually dies, funnily enough. So unfortunately, it really doesn't work out, and you guys end up losing the last point. But I would actually really blame that not on the medic dropping. I would blame that quite heavily on you and your scout partner, because you went out the same entrance, which is not a good idea, because you're gonna get or same area, I suppose, and you got spammed by the same spam, you got hit by the same shit, and you were both really weak, and you're not gonna be able to do anything in that situation. I think when you already are in a good position, you can't think, oh, the medic's dead, let's go, full stop. You have to think, what would be easier? Would it be easier to wait for people to respawn a little bit, heal up, and then push, or would it be better to take the risk and go early and yeah, just risk losing basically, which is what just happened there. So now you're taking a lot of damage. The first part of the mid was fine, but you tunnel visioned really quite a lot onto the soldier on the left. He ends up dying, which is great. You got a scout as well, or you didn't, but someone in your team did. I believe you did damage, even though you didn't seem to get an assist for that. But you've lost 1 scout. You've then dropped off. The reason you've dropped off is because you need to get health, but the problem is there's now a soldier right above your demo man, and he is very likely just going to shoot him. The scout's going to get him as well. You're going to try and DM the scout. You managed to get him. That's pretty good from you. But at this point, it's going to be really difficult for your combo to deal with this soldier. So now you need to focus on him. So you end up getting him, but that was that was really, really, really late. If you'd have been able to not and I'll pause it to say this. If you didn't tunnel vision a little bit there, onto the person on the left, and you were trying to also dodge the spam from the demo, I believe that hit you, you would have been able to stay on the top. So those soldiers that were bombing would have been easy pickings really for you, and you wouldn't have had a really big problem with the scout as well that was going on your medic. It would have been just an easy pick, and you would have been full health pretty much, or more or less full health, at least better health. Take the little health pack on the top, and then you can deal with these things a lot easier. If you have to drop down like that, you have to rush into a certain position to help, and by the time you actually got there to help, he was already on the ground. He'd already, done the damage, and he got on your medic. So again, it's basically an idea of try to dodge spam more when you're focusing on targets, and try and keep the height advantage if you possibly can, because height advantage is pretty fucking good. Right, so Shade dies here, so now you have a scout and a soldier dead. You're doing good damage, but again, you're on the ground, so you're not really in a good position to keep this mid at all. They've just taken the high ground, effectively, so you have to leave. Everyone in your team pretty much has to leave. You've got a weak demo and a very, very weak soldier somewhere, so right, cool. Everyone's healed up now. You've got about equal Ubers. I'm not sure if you guys actually realize that they haven't really been building very well, but they're gonna probably bully their way into choke now. Very soon anyway. Yeah, they have done every other time. So this is a really big mistake from you. Again, it's the reason he's able to hit you here is because you just didn't have a height advantage. There was no, it was obvious where you were going to go. You're in a ditch. All he has to really do is shoot the ground, and he's going to get a real easy bit of damage on you. I believe what actually happens after this is you just walk away, but that means that you're not in the fight anymore. And these people that are on your team, they get a pick, sure, but that was really a misplay from Neo, if anything, and Horpy, who just died on the flank, seemingly. But really, you shouldn't have been taking the damage that you took there. That was really sloppy. I think you get this scout as well, so this is actually well played from you to follow this up, and you end up getting the med too. So after that, after the slight mistake that you made, you actually made a really good play. You decided to chase when you should have chased, and you kept the height advantage as well. You actually came in and got on top. You find the medic on the top, luckily. But then you had the height advantage the whole time. You didn't just drop down for no reason or anything like that. So it worked out. You got your picks that you wanted. You ended up dying at the end, but it's obviously by far worth it. I wish people stop fucking. Right, cool. Right, so by this point, it's like you're doing pretty well in your team. You're doing good damage as far as I can tell. You're focusing targets pretty well. The main thing I'd say is height advantage and not taking damage, so you're tunnel visioning a little bit. You're taking too much damage from people that you're not focusing on. Your aim's good though. You're gonna die here, of course, because you're just not in a very good position because your entire team's pretty much dead. They're just gonna focus you, no problem. Let's see. There we go. Let's see if I can get chat up on my phone. Alright, you should be focusing really on making sure that anyone that jumps is going to get punished for it. I really don't like how you drop down there. This might actually really work out. You may end up getting this demo man if you do really well played. But I think the main thing here that I would say well played about is your aim. Your aim was just on point. You're just hitting your shit. So you didn't actually manage to get the demo man, but you did force him away, and you got on top again. That's good. That's very good. And you kept the mid. So it went okay. I'd say it was somewhat sloppy in some regards. Losing the height advantage again, basically, when you didn't really need to. But it went okay. And you did retake the height advantage afterwards, so it wasn't so bad. Could have been worse. Alright, okay, so in this case, I really don't know which one of your scouts, like which one of you scouts is supposed to be the pocket scout. I have no idea. Shade gets Sosra, so that's one pick. And you have equal Ubers. So at this point, you really should be sending a soldier in. The soldier's bombing in to try and force the med. He's probably just gonna die because that was the most, like, he damaged himself twice for no reason really. So he ended up just dying with no force. So you do end up getting the force. It seems like Shade managed it. At this point, I really do not like the position of anyone on your team. That soldier's just gonna die because he's in no man's land on his own. Yeah, you need to focus on. You're hitting your shots by the looks of things, but your positioning wasn't really good enough considering the fact that you didn't really have anyone to protect your medic properly. Shady's with the med now, but you're just losing person after person due to sloppiness in positioning, pretty much. Oh, okay. Just heard myself. Cool, I got chat on my phone now. Alright, so you tried to make a sentry, didn't work, you go in heavy. If they're already in, this is really completely pointless. Like, very, very pointless. I wouldn't say this is a good choice, but it seems like they've kind of retreated a little bit, so it could be okay, I guess. Okay, they're kind of playing weirdly. I don't really understand, but it's working okay. Now you're gonna switch, cool. Yeah, okay, that kind of did what it needed to. Give me an invite to the Brotherhood. Shut up, Gink, you fuck. Alright, your focus here is capping. Right, that's it. That's the 100% the thing you need to do. So if you're not capping, then you're doing it wrong. You do though. You cap the whole time. That's good. You actually have an Uber advantage as well. So I would argue that you guys should be building. I think Shade is probably building, or a soldier or something. It doesn't necessarily really look like that's the case, to be honest. But nope, Shade's not. Is the soldier? No, no one's building. That's kind of just what happens in like new teams and stuff. So the die idiot thing with that face, that looks exactly like what Byte would say so long ago. Byte does that shit all the time. Alright. You're holding further forward in this case, and that's fine because you have a soldier behind you. So it's okay. Right, I'd say you guys need to like do something. It's kind of, you're just all standing still on both sides here. Shade is holding closer to choke, you're holding on flank, this is good. Okay. But it's like something needs to happen. because it's not. Alright, the Uber got forced and your demo died. Okay. I don't really have a massive thing to say about your play there, because you really weren't the one on choke or anything like that. It was Shade that was there, but it was more, I think, probably the positioning of the demo himself that fucked that. You good damage to the soldier, he runs off. Shut the fuck up, Gink. You wanted to build, but then he starts, that's fine. See, the main thing I'm noticing as well is no one really off classes here. Like, no one's going sniper to get an entry pick or a force or anything like that. Like, it's always nice to have a sniper in a door every now and then on the last, you know, but that's not happening. And, yeah, basically equal Ubers, it would be really good to have a sniper to just force them to pop early, you know. Again, no one's really doing anything. Like, right, okay. I know I said I was gonna trying to focus on what you did wrong and everything, but like, I don't understand how that happens to a demo so much. Like solo, I played in a team with him actually for a bit. Ugh, that was not good. That was worrying. Oh, cool, my scoreboard works now. Cool. So this one, yeah, that was solo entirely, and this is okay. Shade goes sniper. I didn't notice that. Cool. So he gets a pick. So those two picks that you've got are pretty good, but you also don't have a demo man. Nothing's happening. This is so fucking boring. Shade gets another pick. Nice. So that's a demo pick. So this is a really big pick in this case. Now, what your focus should be is getting on the fucking point immediately. It should be the one thing that you are focusing on. Your medic like Ubers you and then I don't know what the fuck that was, honestly. See what the other guys are doing. These guys are all running away. Right, it doesn't make much sense that you guys lost that. You had a demo pick and an Uber. I know they had an Uber too, but like you had a demo pick, right? Yeah, I really kind of blame Solo for a good portion of that. I really just don't think he's pulling his weight. Are you at uni or do you have a job? I work for a dog photography company. I do their bookings and website related things. I can link you in a moment if you're interested, if you're into that stuff. I'm 23 in 8 days. Let's see, back to you. There you are. Okay, so you should be holding the top. Nice pick, good job. That's good shit. Now, really good. Right, the fact that you got those two picks makes that completely worth it. I'd say you kind of only really died there because of your positioning, but you went for like a, you know, high risk, high reward play. You ended up getting a demo out of it, so more than worth it. You definitely played that correctly. I would have gone for that as well. So now that really, okay, no one even caps. Again, not your fault. Like that should be something that Shade realizes. Like the other scout's dead, I need to cap, or just the fucking team does. But and yeah, he just drops. So yeah, that was good from you anyway. Right, so at this point, their medic doesn't have any Uber anyway. At this point, like he doesn't have an Uber. You guys need to cap this. I don't know how you didn't. It's mind-boggling, honestly. They should be around for you, but instead they're 2 rounds up because of your medic dropping there and your scout not capping mids. That wasn't your fault. There should effectively be A scout that always takes the risks more than the other one, so the roaming or aggressive scout, and then there should be the pocket scout, right? You haven't been doing the building, so your pocket scout should be the more defensive one, and if you go aggressive and die, it should be him that's capping, or a roamer even, you know, someone that's still alive should be doing the capping. Nice aim there, that was good shit. So all you can really do now is trying to damage control here. Try and get a pick if he you know peeks too close or something. Eventually you didn't get it, of course, but there's really not much you can do when you're trapped behind like that. So someone should be building right now with your med, because you almost have Uber but not quite. It doesn't look like anyone's building. Oh, people would rather risk him dying before the Uber. Have you got a degree in photography? No, I don't do the photography. My colleagues do, and I do their bookings and stuff. So like if someone is booking in, they talk to me. I'm the person that does all of that, like the calendar sorting and like where the locations are and that sort of stuff. Let's go back to you. KondXP died. Okay. Nice pipe from him. Yeah, these guys are just basically gonna push in, no problem. Just walk forward and sticky forwards. No one can really do much. Yeah. Okay, so I'm not gonna like do this specific one for too much longer because I think it's probably gonna be the same problems that happen. I don't really attribute the loss very much to you, honestly. There was a few times. I think the main big mistake I've seen is when you both walked out onto the balcony and you got hit by rockets and ended up dying, and effectively meant that your team couldn't defend last. But other than that, it's been really a lot other people, pretty much. You've been losing height advantage and stuff, but it's been like you've been trying to kind of do a lot for your team that isn't being done by people it needs to be. Right. The thing I would say about that is, like, when you run mid, you don't necessarily need to jump forward to try and get the kills. If you do like a little bit of good damage or decent damage across from it, at least you kind of deter them somewhat, and when they try and jump again, you can try and kill them then. When you jump forwards like that and they have like a really easy spam angle, it's very easy for them to kill you. And even if the demo doesn't kill you on his own, or a soldier bombing doesn't, if a scout hits you once and demo hits you once with a sticky, you're dead. Or a soldier in this case, after the demo. So I wouldn't recommend just running to forwards on the crate unless there's some sort of distraction or something like that. So if your team is on top of their head, or if they've just bombed them or walk into the other side and they've turned around and they're not able to just focus you for free, I wouldn't recommend just walking to the other side like that. I don't think it's a very good idea. One sec, I'll read this. Jukebox says, "Holy fuck, you're hot." Thanks, Duke. Kind of how you recognize this as a good person and got you and what got you into prestige lobbies and pickups. I actually own the group. I made it for fun once, and then for some reason people took it really seriously, as if like all of it was sort of super serious and like whatever. It's not. Can you turn the light on, please, Jen? So I just played the game, man. I was decent. I wasn't like a godly or anything like that. Probably played too much sniper when I shouldn't have done. But yeah, prestige wise, I made the group, so no, I didn't get into it by any means. I literally just made it and invited people. Effectively, what the group is it's not like a fucking elite group of people or anything like that necessarily. I obviously respect other players in it, but it's more like a, if I look at someone's videos or see them playing in matches and shit like that, I effectively then invite people if I think they're good enough, in the sense that I want to give them some sort of recognition. It's not really anything super serious anyway. So yeah, that's to answer that question. I think I've answered that quite a few times. Fucking everyone's dead. Okay. I didn't see what the fuck happened there, I must admit, but I'd imagine it's probably a similar thing of the demo being in a bad position, no distractions coming in. So they're just gonna roll in and win this. So I'm gonna end this specific one here, and I'll do the other demo later when my lovely girlfriend is not here, so as to not ruin her time. Right, okay, so to clarify, the main things are you need to keep height advantage more often. Don't rush forwards unless you know that you have a distraction, because it's easy to kill a scout that rushes forwards like that, especially with low health. Try and have a sort of role on scout anyway. If you see the other scout being with a combo a lot, try and be on the flank a bit more. If the medic doesn't seem to be paying attention and not giving you buffs and stuff, just try and play a little bit more safe and getting health packs and that sort of thing. Obviously, in a certain team that you might join, you will get more heals or less heals or whatever, so you need to be able to adapt to some degree. Cap a lot. Just focus heavily on the cap. If you can get the cap while they're running away, don't focus on the fact that they're going to get away, because a kill doesn't win. Kills don't win the game. The caps do, so it's more important that you get those. And yeah, don't when you're holding the flank, something along those lines. Try not to focus too much. So don't tunnel vision is effectively what I'm trying to say, and this applies to everything really. If you're tunnel visioning on trying to get one pick, try and be more aware of what's around you. So when that specific time, for example, when you were holding the flank and you were quite far forwards, you knew you were somewhat safe from the scout and soldier that were in front of you. They damaged you a bit, but you had to retreat. It ended up working out or whatever, but I think that was kind of the incompetence of the other team or your aim effectively kind of getting you out of it. But if you can help it, try not to take that damage. Try to be in a position where you can see from a better angle. And like when you're holding the flank, try not to just be staring at the flank kind of thing, if you understand what I mean. So keep a sort of wide eye on both areas kind of thing so that you can sort of transition between the two a lot easier. Sorry man for annoying. It's okay man, you're not annoying me. How come you playing 640 by 480? I play on it because I'm used to it. I basically started using it years and years and years ago. I've tried to switch to higher resolutions and stuff, and it just doesn't. It just doesn't feel right. So I've just kept the resolution as it is because if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Personally, I feel okay on it, so I keep playing with it. Right, on that note, I will probably do it later, so I'll be probably streaming later. I'll probably play some fucking pickups or something in the next weeks or so. I might, maybe, perhaps. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. I'll be back later.